The Fall Guy might be one of the most enjoyable movies that I have seen in the last 5 years. David Leitch continues his long-standing tradition of putting out some of the most unique comedy action movies in the industry. And for a brief, priceless moment, I can finally say that I saw a new, fun, original movie before we inevitably go back to... But without further ado, go ahead and do your own stunts, call in your attack dogs, and let's get straight into it. The Fall Guy kicks off with our protagonist, Colt Seavers, a pretty badass stuntman. He's working his dream job in Hollywood, he's in a steady relationship, just living his best life for real. Until one fateful day, his life is derailed horrendously. Colt throws it back so hard that he, breaks his back. After having an accident, he gets Bruce Wayne'd right into the Hollywood permaban list, and this will be important to the story later on. And spends the next 18 months of his life like a true sad boy, by ignoring everyone and everything until you have nothing or no one left. He's working as a valet when Gail, a producer whom he's known for many years, calls him over to the land of Nyananda, where she tells him that his counteractor, Tom Ryder, who is the biggest action celebrity on Earth, is missing. This in and of itself doesn't really bother Colt because, as we'll learn later on in the movie, Tom is a bit of an asshole. However, Colt's ex, Jody Moreno, who he very clearly is still in love with, finally managed to get her big break as a director. And if Tom Ryder isn't found soon, then the studio is gonna shut it all down and instead produce another remake. So Colt makes his way to Deonanda, where he starts investigating Tom's whereabouts, while simultaneously trying to rekindle the spark between him and Jody. However, things turn sideways very quickly. Colt figures out that there may be more than meets the eye when it comes to this mystery, especially when he finds a goddamn body. Now from here on out, we will be getting into spoiler territory, so if you haven't seen The Fall Guy, go ahead and skip to the timestamp right here. So Colt tracks down Tom's personal assistant, where she hands him Tom's phone. Colt hacks the cell phone and finds out what's really going on. The big reveal is that Matthew Broderick, Tom Ryder, fucking killed someone. In a shocking twist, the one that has been pulling all the strings turns out to be Tom Ryder. He and Gail have been manipulating Colt from the beginning. The plan all along was to bring Colt to Australia so they could deepfake him in the murder montage and then kill both of them.
What murder?
It's certainly not a crazy idea. I mean, we do learn later on that Tom was actually responsible for Colt's accident where he broke his back, so they're certainly not short on hatred for Colt. For reasons. But I don't know, it just seems like so overcomplicated. If I were to cover up a murder, it wouldn't be that hard. So Tom kicks the guy, and the guy falls and breaks his neck or something. But now they have to look for a guy to take the fall and destroy the video. But if the video was the biggest issue, then why not just throw him out the window?
Stunt performance.
Why not open it and say that he tripped and fell right out? Seems like more trouble than it's worth, especially when you have a ton of witnesses, because there are a ton of people that saw this happen. This was an active party and everyone saw the murder, unless they killed them all.
It's time to eliminate loose ends.
Laserbeak. Kill them all.
Anyway, Tom captures Colt, where he tries to have Colt killed. Colt fakes his death and returns to Jody, where he explains everything. And Jody then just carries the entire third act and gets Tom to confess on tape that he's the one that committed the murder.
Got you, bitch!
And everyone just lived happily ever after. Except Henry. But Henry. As I had mentioned in the intro, this is probably the most fun I've had with the new movie on release since 2019 Uncut Gems. Mwah. What a masterpiece. If you've seen any of my previous videos, then you might already know that I am not the biggest fan of modern day Hollywood with its never-ending sludge of remakes and brain-dead creativity. Which is why it was so refreshing to finally see a new standalone classic summer movie. Being in the theater, seeing this took me back to the good old days. When you could go to the movies, see something new, cool, have fun, go home, and forget about it. Not overly complicated or part of some multiversal cinematic universe or just a bland copy and paste of something else. David Leitch really seems to be hitting the next step with how much fun everyone seems to be having. I'll talk about him more a little bit later in the video. My favorite scene was when Colt gets hopped up on fentanyl or something right at the beginning of the investigation and starts going apeshit on the drug dealers. He starts seeing unicorns and stuff. It was great. The movie also has a lot of meta humor that I love. It pokes fun at itself with references to the third act, whether or not they should use a split screen in the movie, while using a split screen in the movie. They also make a lot of pop culture references to other stars like Jason Momoa, Tom Cruise.
Put your manners back in.
John Cena, I think. They also reference movies like Rocky, Jason Bourne, and the movie that they're making in the movie is very clearly a satire between Dune and Mad Max. The pacing was also very well executed. Both A and B plots of the murder mystery and the love story sort of grow organically, each at their own pace, and just sort of meet naturally in the climax. It never felt forced, and it never felt like it was too ridiculous. Well, maybe not yet. Emily Blunt was the best actor in the film. Given that she's in the dark about a lot of things, like Colt coming to set or the entire murder mystery, she's given the opportunity to react naturally to what's going on around her. And after Colt spills the beans, like I said before, she just carries the entire third act, where they use the movie set as an active maze to stop the bad guys. And speaking of the third act, boy was it cool as However, this is a critical point in the story, where you, viewer, have to decide, do you care about logic? Wrong answer. The final act is when I had to suspend my disbelief the most. This movie certainly takes a lot of liberties when it comes to what real people should be able to get away with in the real world. However, the climax is when those liberties are taken to the max level. If you are a nitpicker, you might find yourself just Jim staring at the camera or rolling your eyes a little bit. But if you like having fun, you won't care at all. The first two acts of the film were just so much gosh darn fun that I am completely willing to overlook David Leitch just saying fuck it and throwing shit out the wall to see what sticks. And it all stuck. Ryan Gosling knocks it out of the park once again with how dynamic he can be. He may not be the most expressive actor out there, but still manages to have excellent comedic timing and range. Unfortunately, not everything was all sunshine and rainbows for the Fall Guy. The plot was really thin and very predictable at times. If you've seen a murder mystery movie, then you've seen The Fall Guy. And this seems to be a recurring theme in David Leitch movies where they may not be the deepest, but they really don't need to be. The spectacle and characters make his movies fun and not so much the story. Knives Out is a prime example of what this movie could have been, where the story is really intricate, but the characters are also fun and complex. Speaking of David Leitch, he went all out with this one. A love letter to the unsung heroes of the film industry. Stunt crews have been the backbone of action movies since their inception, but for whatever reason, they're kind of just left out to dry. which really sucks when you consider just how much these guys put on the line and where movies would be without them. I mean, stuntmen are the reason that this doesn't look like this. And of course, David Leitch, being a stunt coordinator and a stunt performer himself, you really feel the love. Even though this wasn't entirely original, being based on the 80s series of the same name, The Fall Guy, this story was built completely from the ground up, which took me back to simpler times. The Fall Guy is such a huge breath of fresh air in this current hellscape of unoriginality. And it's such a damn shame that despite having pretty positive reviews, it's already being pulled from theaters only 3 weeks in. We need more silly, goofy movies like this that can be their own thing. And it's no surprise that studios don't want to invest in anything new because when they do, we don't support it. If you, like me, are tired of the same crap, do yourself a favor and go watch this movie in theaters. I promise it'll be worth every penny. And who knows, maybe we can all be a part of making Hollywood great again. With that said, I think it is time for the rating. If I had to describe this movie using one word, it would be fun.
Have it for friends who do stuff together.
Originally, I was going to rank this movie an 8, but what the hell, it's my cheat day. The Fall Guy earns an incredibly solid 9 out of 10. Make sure to hit that big red button underneath and check out the latest upload where I lose my last ounce of sanity ranking every Transformers movie ever. This next month is going to be packed with content, with Furiosa, Deadpool 3, If, Kingdom of the Apes, and so many more finally coming out. Follow me on social media as well so you can stay updated online. Links down below. With that said, thank you guys so very much for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one. It makes a lot of